if you have an early morning appointment, like 8 o'clock or so in the morning, to pick up at the customer, it's best to get your container from the day before. But it don't always work like that where you could get your container from the day before. Okay, this load, I didn't get this load until about 9 o'clock last night. So I came in at 5. It's a slow process coming in and it's a slow process going out. But once you're in here, going in the stack to get your container, that don't take long. But sometimes they move slow at the interchange to get you in and get you out. So right now, when I first came in, my ETA to get to the customer was about 6:15. My appointment at 8 o'clock. It's not far away. It's about maybe 11 miles, if that. But right now, it's saying my ETA to the customer is at 7:40, and I'm still in line waiting for them to check the container. This is the type of stuff you can run into out here at the port. Just come with it. Like some days you're gonna come in and everything gonna go smooth, and some days you're gonna come in and you're gonna be this. That's why you can't run these loads for cheap, because whatever you're getting paid for the load, you gotta compensate for the time you spend in here in case you're running into problems. So we end up getting that container taken off. I had to go back to the same stack where they had put it on. They take it off, and now I'm in another stack waiting for them to bring me another container. Same ship line under the same booking. When you run into that issue with the container that they give you, if it's an empty, once you're already in here, when they take it off, you don't gotta go out and come back in to get the other one, the new one that they assigned to you. You're already in here. Sometimes they give it to you from the same stack if it's available there. If not, they'll send you to another one to go get it. If it's a load and the container damage, a lot of times once the product is not falling out the container, if they could patch it up, they'll patch it up and let you go on with it. If not, if it's just a hole in the floor or a hole in the sides or something like that, sometimes they'll patch it. If it's hazmat, they ain't gonna weld it if it's flammable. But if it's just a regular dry freight, they'll put that patch tape over it. If it's hazmat, they'll put the patch tape over it. You go deliver the load, and then when you bring the empty back, they'll fix it when they come back. So that's a transaction when you come in here and you have a damaged container. It can hold you up, because the process when you come in, get a container and get out, if they're moving slow like they are today, coming in and going out, you end up being here for a long time. So far I've been here 2 hours and 15 minutes. I won't be surprised if I end up being here about 3 hours. I'm supposed to be at the customer at 8 o'clock, but I already let them know I ain't gonna make it there by 8 because of the situation. So once I get the container, just gotta be back in by the cutoff so it can make the ship. The only time you really gotta worry about your time is if you're going to load at a customer that have that load by appointment. Just like hauling a regular 53. Some of these customers, if you come late, you miss your appointment, you end up gotta be at work in. But as far as coming back in the port, you just gotta get that container back in the port before the ship leaves. When you book a load, you always want to ask them when is the cutoff date for it to be back in the port. On that day, just gotta get it back in the port. They'll let you know if you gotta be back in by a certain time or gotta be back in just before the port closes. So we finally get that container out the port and on our way to get loaded. My ETA to the customer is about 8:15. But that's how the port is, man. Sometimes you're gonna run into problems, sometimes everything gonna go smooth. And the port is not for everybody, because everybody can't deal with it. A situation like this where if you were going like 200-300 miles and you were trying to make back the port today, it wouldn't happen, because leaving out now, you wouldn't get to your customer until about 1 o'clock, because it's after 8 now. You'll get there about 1 o'clock, they'll load you, you start heading back. You might not be able to make back the port depending on which one of the ports you're going to. And even without traffic, you still wouldn't make back the port. So that container would end up getting pushed over into another day, which is tomorrow. And by that, you end up having another chassis bill, another day on your chassis bill. Also, if you have something else to run tomorrow, now you have two options. When you come back, you drop that container on the yard if you have a yard. That's what I always recommend. If you're going to pull a container under your own authority or lease onto a carrier that don't have a drop yard in your area, get your own drop yard, because there are going to be times when you come back and you can't take the container into the port, and you might have something else to do the next morning, so you can't take it in the next morning either. So you need somewhere to store it in a secure location until you could take it in. That would be one option. Your next option would be whatever you have for tomorrow, you get off that, get it pushed back until later in the day or get it pushed back into another day. That way you could turn in the container that you're coming back with today, because you're not going to make the port today. So that's kind of how the port works. It's a lot different from pulling dry van or pulling reefer. Sometimes you're on the port schedule as to when the container could go in the port, and sometimes you're on the ship line schedule. It's good to have a drop yard, and you need a drop yard where you could keep at least 4 containers if you're running by yourself. If you have drivers and you're going to need a bigger drop yard, or you're going to need access to somewhere that you could drop containers whenever you need to. Because you're going to have situation where you're going to need to drop a container. You're going to need to store a container for a couple of days, or even maybe a week or two. I have one right now where I have it about 3 days now, and I'm not sure when it's going to the customer. I'm waiting on them for an appointment, which it looks like they're not in any hurry to get it. So it just sit there. Every day I just remind them that I have it, send them an email or send them a text, just a reminder that I still have that container. And when you keep the container like that, when you book these loads, you gotta make sure you're letting them know up front that make sure you let them know up front what's your storage rate and what's your daily chassis rate. Because when you keep the container like that, you could easily run up $1,000 worth of storage and chassis bill together. And it depends on how much you're charging per day for storage, how much you're charging a day for chassis. You could easily run up $1,000 bill. So you gotta let them know ahead, this your daily rate for storage, this your daily rate for chassis. That way when they get that invoice, they're not surprised of how much it is. Pulling container, you could make a lot of money, but you gotta know what you're doing, because you could also lose a lot of money. There's people come in, well, just like driving or reefer. There's a lot of people come in it, and in no time they jump out of it, go back to doing something else because it's not for them. I say it all the time, it's not for everybody. What you got there is a four-wheeler running to the back of a chassis. When you're running local, man, you have a high chance of getting into an accident out here. So there's four-wheelers, they're not paying attention. They're not paying attention. Just like that, they could mess your whole day up. So I end up having to change my appointment for the port, because they load me at first when I just got there, and then after they load me, the forklift guy came out and told me that they load the wrong product on it and they already unloaded from the move to another dock. So I end up going to another dock and they reload it. That's the CDL school I went to. That's on that truck right there. When you're coming in, they give you that ticket, and that ticket it tell you all your information once you get in here. They give you the location where you're going to bring the container to, the zone you're going to bring it to. You have the container number on it, the chassis number, the booking number. So once you get in here, you know exactly where you're going once you come through the gate. Once you understand everything that's on that ticket they give you, your next thing is to get familiar with the port so you know where all the locations at. Some of these ports are well marked. They tell you where the location's at, but not all of them like that. Now once you know where the location at, you just go there. Some of them not fully automated, so you still have to get out, scan your Twig badge, and wait for them to come get the chassis off you. But you have some that's fully automated where once you're back in to the stack, you just sit there and wait for them to come get the box off you. So the port that you're going to run out of, you just got to learn the system at that port because they all operate different. Some of them will let you stay in the truck while they're taking the box off or putting the box on, and some of them won't.